For fettuccine Alfredo, fresh ingredients are key. We're talking high quality cream, high quality cheese, high quality butter, if you can do it. Like fresh ingredients, quality ingredients make for a way better dish because this is such a simple dish. All of the ingredients really shine. And if you're using subpar ingredients, it's going to make for kind of a deflated experience. So this dish requires two kinds of cheese. So we've got Parmesan and we've got Pecorino Romano. They're both Italian cheeses. They're great cheeses. They're kind of expensive cheeses, but here's a tip. You can get them for cheap at Trader Joe's for like $4 for a block. And that's something else I want to point out. These cheeses come in a block, or they may come like pre-ground like this. They do not come in a cardboard cylinder. Like if you're using the Parmesan cheese that comes in the weird green cylinder with a top that opens and closes, that's not real cheese. That will not melt and that will not make fettuccine Alfredo. Both of your cheeses need to be shredded very finely, like almost down to a powder consistency. Trust me on this. Like the thicker your cheese is, the bigger the pieces are, the longer it'll take to melt. And we're actually just working with really low ambient heat here. And it can take a long time for really big pieces of cheese to melt. And sometimes they don't melt at all. So the finer that you grind your cheese, the better off you'll be. Also, you want to make sure that you bring your cheeses to room temperature. Like a cold cheese does not want to melt, right? Because it's cold. Hello, right? So what you want to do is take them out about 30 minutes ahead of time so they're at room temperature, and you'll save yourself a whole lot of work and a whole lot of stirring. When it comes to melting cheese, we have to melt cheese over a very low heat, so it takes a little bit longer. That's why these cheeses need to be grated finely and why they need to be at room temperature. It's already going to take a little while because we cannot heat cheese over a high temperature. Cheese is an emulsion. It's actually a solid emulsion, but it is still a combination of fat and liquid held together in a stable emulsion so that it's actually solid cheese as we know it. But if we heat it too quickly or if we heat it too much, it'll break. And even though cheese looks solid, it can break when you heat it up. And basically what happens is your solids separate from your liquids and you end up with basically curds in a way. You end up with these weird, lumpy, cheesy blobs and then just liquid. And God himself will not put them back together. If that happens, you unfortunately have to toss your cheese and start over. Now the pasta for this dish, we're going to be using fettuccine, and it needs to be cooked just to al dente. And it's crucial to have both the pasta and the sauce done at the same time. So you start the pasta, let it heat up, and you start making your sauce. The sauce takes a couple minutes to melt. As you're making your sauce, your pasta finishes cooking, and then you take your hot pasta out of the strainer, still hot, still steaming, put it into your sauce, and mix it all up with the tongs. The hot pasta will finish cooking the sauce if there's any little nubbins of cheese that are left over. Now, it's really important to remember that you need to have your pasta al dente, right to the point you want to eat it, maybe just right before. You don't want it overcooked, you don't want it undercooked, otherwise your dish is going to turn out with kind of a funny texture. For this particular dish, we don't need to reserve any pasta water, and that's because it's got a lot of cream and melted butter in it. Between the cream and the butter, there is more than enough liquid in it to carry it. We don't need to reserve any pasta water for this. It's important to know that you cannot hurry this dish. You're cooking over low heat for the cheese and sauce, and it takes as long to melt as it takes. Just keep whisking, keep going, it'll eventually melt. Do not turn up your stove top. You want to keep it at 2 or 3 max, because if you overheat it too quickly, your cheese will break, and then you won't have a nice creamy sauce. I mean, seriously, it only takes 5 minutes to put this dish together, not including the pasta cooking time. So CTFO, dude, it's fine. And given all the cream and butter and cheese that's in this, you can't make this without dairy. There's no vegan version, there's no fat-free version. Sorry. You can try and make a fat-free version, I guess, or a vegan version, but it wouldn't be fettuccine Alfredo. It would be a totally different dish. And that's fine. Make a different dish, but it won't be this dish.